welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Liana. Today we're going to be talking about beauty, but we're going to be talking about a little bit more of a serious topic, which is shade range here in Canada. So if you're unfamiliar with Canadian beauty, then you probably won't be aware of the situation here, which is the fact that Canadian beauty brands have an abysmal shade range. I love to support Canadian beauty. I think that it's really important to shop local, but the problem is that if you want to try and be an ally to people of color and shop locally, you're going to have a conflict of interest. That's just the way it is. This is a topic that it doesn't get covered a lot. A lot of people aren't aware of the situation when it comes to Canadian brands. Canadian YouTubers don't talk about Canadian beauty, and a lot of them don't mention shade range. So the two together they don't get mentioned. And the point of this video is not to shame anybody who buys from these brands, because I do buy from these brands. It's a lot of the times it's the fact that I don't have the money to go to high-end brands. These are available at drugstores here. And, you know, this is just what we have. And like I said, I do like to support Canadian brands. I just think that they really need to do better. So again, no shame to anybody who buys from the brands. And I just feel like this is an important subject to talk about. And it's not just the Canadian brands that have poor shade ranges. There are other factors here in Canada that we'll touch on as well that I think could be improved upon. But I do want to start with the actual Canadian brands, and we're going to go alphabetically here. So Annabelle Cosmetics, which you've seen me talk about, you've seen me use their products. The only complexion product that they have in their line, and when I talk about complexion product, I am going to talk about concealer and foundation, although I do realize that there is a lack of shade range in products like contours, bronzers, even blushes. But just for the sake of this video and keeping it at a shorter length, I am going to talk about concealers and foundations only. And Annabelle only has one complexion product at the moment, and that's their Perfect Concealer, which comes in 3 shades. I'm going to move to the side. This is actually my hand that I took a photo of the 3 shades, swatched on my hand at Shoppers Drug Mart. So you can see here that this is just not good enough. I'm pretty sure that Annabelle did at one point sell foundations and or BB creams. And if this is anything to go by, I'm sure that they probably only had 3 to maybe 6 shades. So they've been saying that they are going to expand this. They've been saying that since January when I first asked them, and they said that more shades were coming soon. Well, I don't know what coming soon means to Annabelle, but they don't appear to have any new shades coming. And this is their model currently. Do you think she has a shade in their concealer? Or blush or bronzer for that matter? No. No, she doesn't. Moving on, we have Cargo Cosmetics. Some people may not know Cargo is Canadian. So for some of these brands that have more products than others, it's going to be really hard for me to go through every single line of product that they have. I kind of just whittled it down to which product has the most shades and which has the least amount of shades. So their liquid foundation has the most shades. It has 11. It has 1 very fair, 3 fair, 2 medium dark, 1 dark, 1 dark, very dark, and 1 very dark. This is obviously the shade range up on the screen. And the least amount of shades in their line is for their Jet Lag Concealer, which has 2 shades. it's just not good. The majority of their products appear to have around 6 shades, with concealers having around 4 shades, and the majority of their products are for light skin tones. So next we have Cover FX. Now Cover FX is actually a very good brand, and it's one of the brands that is most well known when it comes to Canadian brands, and I have no beef with them. They do very well. Most of their foundations have 40 shades. They have a new concealer that just came out that has 30 shades, including one that is pure white for mixing, and it goes very deep. All of their products have P for pink undertone, N for neutral, G for golden, and G plus for olive. And if you're one shade in one product, that's your shade throughout. So in general, they just do a really good job. The least amount of shades that they have is for something called their Perfect Concealer Pencil, which has 10 shades, but I have a feeling that this is a very old product that's been phasing out of their product line. I'm not sure if it had maybe more shades and some of them are just sold out. But in general, they have at least 20 shades in most of their line. And next is a brand that I've never heard of, but apparently it's sold in wholesale amounts at Costco. This is Daniel Thompson. Now they only have 3 products. One is a mineral moisturizer with 5 shades, a mineral foundation powder with 5 shades, and an absolute light concealer with 1 shade. And none of them look dark. Nope, they all look very, very beige. So I guess Daniel Thompson thinks the only people shopping at Costco are white people. And there's a reason why I hadn't heard of this brand before. Next we have an indie brand, which is more on the natural, clean beauty side of things. They are called Elate Cosmetics. Again, they only have a few products when it comes to complexion. The most shades they have in their line is for their Fix Pressed Powder Foundation, which has 7 shades. The undertones of the medium shades look a little orangey yellow. Their full tint foundation comes in 6 shades. This is their liquid foundation. 4 of them are for light skin tones. And again, huge jump to the last 2, which are supposed to be for deeper skin. And they look like they're probably very, very red. Their Fresh Tint foundation has 4 shades, 3 of which look to be for light medium skin tones. The last one is for medium deep. And their concealer comes in 5 shades. And there's a huge jump to the very last one, which is meant for deeper skin. Next we have Ilia, which is a Sephora brand. They only have 1 complexion product. That is their True Skin Serum Foundation. Comes in 9 shades. I also found these swatches on their Instagram, which are for products not on the Sephora app. This is their tinted moisturizer in 5 shades. And this is their concealer, which has 6 shades and runs deeper than their tinted moisturizer and their foundation. Joe Fresh, they have 3 to 4 shades in every single one of their concealers and foundations. They have nothing for deeper skin tones. Nothing. Everything is light. Everything is light. Lise Wattier, which apparently is going to be at Sephora now. I got a notification from the app this morning. That's what it said. The most shades they have a lot of complexion products, but the most shades they have is 11. Watch me butcher some French here. The Tarte Multi-Fini Compact Foundation and the Tarte Age Control Supreme. Both have 11 shades. The least amount of shades is the Abracadabra Anti-Blemish. 1 universal shade. Apparently it's a blemish control spot concealer. It's supposed to work for everyone. And they've been around a long time. They are a very prestige, well-known brand here in Canada. There's no excuse.
These are more samplings from the Lise Watier Instagram page. Really, really horrible. And also worth noting is that trying to find a person of color on their Instagram page is like trying to find Waldo. It's really fucking hard.
Next we have MAC. Now, MAC, again, has a lot of complexion products. They've been around longer than Cover FX, which, again, Cover FX we know, great with shades. And MAC is very good with shades. I would say they're not as good as Cover FX because they are less consistent than Cover FX. If you look at all of the different complexion products they do not have the same amount of shades in all of them. In fact, there are quite a few complexion products where they kind of drop the ball quite a bit. So while they do have 60 shades in their Studio Fix Fluid Foundation, there are quite a few lines of products where you could find 5 shades, 10 shades, and it's not all that impressive. So it's kind of confusing because a brand like MAC obviously knows how to make a great shade range, but not all of their products have a great shade range. And it's kind of a head scratcher. You look on their website and you're kind of like, huh. Like, what happened here? So I'm just going to throw that out there. The least amount of shades that they have is their Studio Conceal and Correct Duo, which comes in 4 shades. Next we have Marcel. This is the sister company of both Lise Watier and Annabelle Cosmetics. Unlike Annabelle, they do sell foundation. They have a few different foundations and BB creams. The most shades that they have is 6. Their Flawless Luminous Foundation has 6 shades. Their Flawless Air Serum Foundation SPF 15 has 6 shades, and so does their Flawless Foundation. None of them go beyond the shade medium. And their idea of medium is not the same idea of my medium. Again, it's more of the idea of a white person who has slightly more tan skin. The least amount of shades that they have is the BB Cream Matte in 1 shade. Because people who want a matte BB cream only come in 1 shade. Next we have Nude Stix, the sister company of Cover FX. It really makes you wonder, if Cover FX can do this so well, why can't Nude Stix? But Nude Stix, again, I have featured them on my channel. I prefer their lip products to their skin products. Their concealer stick has 8 shades, and their tinted blur stick has 10 shades. And so there's probably a reason why, if you're looking for a review on deeper skin tones, they don't really pop up all that frequently on YouTube. So next we have The Ordinary. They have both the Serum Foundation and Coverage Foundation. Both of them come in 21 shades. 21 shades is not a bad amount to start with. You can definitely get a good gradient within that amount. But this foundation definitely skews more towards the light end of the spectrum. They have quite a few shades that are geared towards fair to light. They have a couple of medium shades and a couple of darker shades. Definitely, they have a lot of attention to detail for the light ones. So next we have Pure Anata. Pure Anata is another brand that I have featured here on my channel. They're another brand, much like Elate Cosmetics, that tries to be very clean, beauty friendly, and they do source their materials in an ethical way. So I do commend them for that. Their shade range is definitely not the worst out of the bunch. It's also not great by any means. The most shades that they have is from their loose mineral foundation. They have 21 shades there. And I don't know if this is just the photo, the lighting here, but some of the shades that they're calling deep definitely don't look that deep. The shades that they call medium don't look that medium. So this definitely is a line that, again, it skews quite fair. Their pressed foundation comes in 6 shades. It's supposedly 1 shade per shade category. So, you know, you have porcelain, very fair, light, medium, deep, and global. They name their darkest shades global, whatever that means. And again, it's just not a smooth gradient throughout their lines. Their concealers, they have 4 concealers with their cream concealer and their liquid concealer. It goes from porcelain to medium. This is not just a trend with Canadian beauty, but with natural beauty. Natural beauty, they don't have a lot to offer in the way of deeper shades. So I don't know why. It's like they think people with deep skin don't want natural beauty. The next brand is Quo. This is a brand sold exclusively at Shoppers Drug Mart. This is probably one of the worst brands, actually. Depending on whether you go in store or whether you look at the Shoppers Drug Mart website, you will find, on average, about 1 to 4 shades. Their Luminous Finish Foundation has 4 shades, and their Forever Flawless Cushion System Foundation, their Concealer Palette, and their BB Powder in medium all have 1 shade. They, again, much like Joe Fresh and other brands here, do not have anything for deeper skin tones. The next brand from Sephora is RMS Beauty. They have the Uncover Up Concealer and Foundation in 6 shades. This is a very small pot by the looks of it, so I can't imagine that you would use this as an all-over foundation. This definitely looks more like a concealer. But the shade range, again, is very, very poor. The photo I'm looking at here actually shows 7 shades, so maybe the Sephora app got that wrong, but even so, it's not any better. The next brand is Stellar Beauty. Now this isn't, in my opinion, comparable to a lot of the other brands here. This was actually developed by an Indian woman, specifically to fill the gap for specific medium skin tones: Hispanic, Latino, African American, Aboriginal, Southeast Asian, Filipino, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, West and East Indian complexions. So when you take that into consideration, I think that it makes sense that there are very particular shades and tones in this foundation. They do have a few lighter shades, they do have a few deeper shades, but this is catering to a specific demographic and not really comparable. They do have 22 shades of their Limitless Foundation and 10 shades of their Limitless Concealer. This was actually started by a former Much Music VJ. That's like Canadian MTV, if you don't know. And the next brand we're going to talk about was also started by Indian women. This is the brand Vasanti. They have 11 shades in their liquid cover-up oil-free foundation and concealer, 11 shades in their face-based powder foundation, and 3 shades in their color correcting concealer duo. Again, they do seem to be targeting more of the medium skin tones, but they do have a few on opposite ends of the spectrum. And the last brand, again, one I had never heard of, Zora Cosmetics. They have 4 shades in their BBB cream, not just BB cream, but BBB cream. They don't show you swatches really, and the shade names are very odd, so it's hard to tell exactly what the shades look like, but they have 3 shades in their corrective concealer as well. This is, I think, more of a skincare based line, but I don't know, to me that doesn't really give you a pass. So now that we have finished talking about Canadian brands and their appalling lack of shades, I also wanted to talk about a couple of other issues here. We have some brands that are sold in limited amounts and are kind of cut off in their shade ranges here in Canada. One in particular stands out in mind, Bobbi Brown. Now, Bobbi Brown, if you've paid attention to them at all on YouTube with reviews, you'd know that they have a wide selection of shades and a wide selection for women of color. You won't be able to choose from those shades. We have about 12 shades from Bobbi Brown foundation lines, or less, and they're all beige. Why? I don't know, but it's like that in Sephora stores, it's like that on the Sephora website, and it's like that on the Bobbi Brown website. They don't let you buy deep shades from Bobbi Brown in Canada. That makes no sense. It's like the beauty industry thinks that there are no Black people in Canada, no Native people, no people darker than me, than anyone light-skinned. It's ridiculous. Makeup Revolution is sold in limited quantities online on the Arabelle website and the London Drugs website, as well as their store, but we don't have London Drugs here, a different area than where I am. They don't have the full selection of their concealers or foundations. Now, they have currently about 24 or 25 shades in their concealer, with plans to get that up to 48. You can shop about 10 shades online and about 10 shades of foundation. Milani is sold in Rexall and Walmart. And I've seen a lot of people of color complain online that you can't buy the darker shades of the Milani 2-in-1 foundation here in Canada. They aren't available on shelves. There are no Black-owned brands here in Canada. I think possibly you can still find Ilia Cosmetics at some Rexalls. I remember I used to see her brand at Rexall when I was a teenager. I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know if they do still carry it here in Canada. Maybe it varies by location. That's the only brand geared towards women of color I've ever seen here in Canada. And there's a lot of them sold in the US at Target. Target no longer exists in Canada. There are so many. There's like Black Radiance, Black Opal, Hue Noir. There are so many that they could be making available somewhere here in Canada, but they aren't. And again, that limits selection for people with different skin tones. Now we have very diverse and inclusive shade ranges that end up getting cut off in stores. This probably varies by location, and I'm sure this isn't a Canadian only problem, but we have like the Maybelline Fit Me line. We don't have all of the shades in stores. All of the new CoverGirl foundations are not here. The new NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. I looked in 2 different Shoppers Drug Marts near me, and they only carry 7 shades. Marc Jacobs, you can't see the whole Shameless line of foundations from him at Sephora stores. And L'Oreal has their True Match line. Again, not all of these shades are available in stores. Usually, from what I've seen, they give you the lightest shade and several of the shades after that in the light category. Probably about 3 or 4 in the medium category, and you might get 1 or 2 from the deep category, but never the deepest shade. And that's what it looks like. And you don't usually get too many testers here unless you're at Sephora. Sephora is good with testers. And Shoppers, you can't really return makeup, so again, that's an issue. So there are definitely a few different layers to this being a huge problem. Because if there aren't shades available on shelves for you to swatch, then you have to look online. If you have to look online, then you have to guess your shade. If you guess wrong, you're either out of luck and out of money, or you have to send it back and keep guessing. If there are brands that aren't making your shade to begin with, then you're going to be on a wild goose chase, going all over the place to try and find a brand that does cater to you. When it would be nice if these brands at drugstores with more affordable pricing would just wake up and see that you exist. There's always this excuse that darker shades don't sell well. Well, if you're not making them, how would you know? It's systemic, and it's something that, again, needs to be talked about more. I feel like the louder people talk about it, hopefully more companies will start to listen, but this isn't something that gets talked about here in Canada, and if the Canadian companies don't hear you, they're never going to change. So, well, I hope that you can see now what Canadian companies are like here, that this is a huge problem, and hopefully you've learned a little something. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I will get back to you. I do post Mondays and Fridays here on this channel in the afternoon Eastern time, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye everyone.